Danny Flexen here for Seconds Out. Delighted to be joined once again by Hall of Fame promoter Frank Warren. Frank, furniture readjustment aside, how you doing?
I'm all right. Still readjusting the old furniture, mate, even at my age.
Got to get that feng shui or whatever it's called right, yeah.
Feng shui, feng shui.
Huge weekend for you guys. Consecutive shows Friday and Saturday night. Which fights, if you can pick a couple out, excite you the most?
Well, I'm looking forward to Zach Parker. I'm looking forward to making his debut with us on the show. He's ranked, as you know, number one by the WBO, so he's in a very good position. He needs to be active, and we're going to keep him active, and hopefully he'll get a shot at the world title this year, being in that position.
In your view, why has he not been made the mandatory yet, even though he's been number one for quite some time since he beat Murdoch?
I think because they wanted to get this fight out the way with Canelo and Billy Joe Saunders. I think that's really it. And I think after that, then obviously a mandatory will be due.
And then he becomes mandatory for someone, whoever wins, who has 3 of the 4 major belts, which it really is a better position for him, I suppose.
Well, it'd be great for him to be in that position. But, as I say, he's just come with us. I want to try and get him a couple of fights at least before he challenges for the world title. That's what I'd like to do in an ideal world.
We know you rate Billy very highly. So who do you think Zach will end up facing down the line for that title? Will it be Billy or will it be Canelo?
Well, I hope it's Billy, because it'd be a great fight for the British fans, wouldn't it? But having said that, look, Bill was a superb middleweight, and he's gone up to super middleweight. He's won the title there. We made the match for him for the vacant title. He won that, and he's had a couple of defences, he's had one defence, isn't he, in another fight at super middleweight. Whereas Canelo moved up to light heavyweight, had a good win over Kovalev. And, he's very comfortable with that. And he's a very big super middleweight now. And his last fight, I think I may have said this in our previous interview, he looked quite cut to me. He looked quite solid. Mm. So he's a big super middleweight. And Bill's coming up, as I said. And it's going to be whether, how strong Bill's going to be at that level, at the level of an Alvarez. His boxing skills are superb. There's no doubt about that. We've seen him time and time again and rise to the occasion when he's an underdog in a fight. He's won every fight that he's been an underdog in. And he does have the skills to do it. It's whether the power's going to be there at that weight and in the inactivity that he's had over the years, where I felt he should have capitalised on some of the wins that he had, but for various reasons he didn't fight as regularly as I like to have done, like to see him done. So, for heart, skills, he's there. He's got an excellent chance. The only thing in the back of my mind is the weight, how strong he's going to be against a real solid super middleweight.
And getting back to this weekend, Zach Parker's not the only young talent who's out on the bill, of course. You've got a raft of prospects coming through and taking steps up as well. Dennis McCann, incredibly exciting. David Adelaide at heavyweight as well. And Louis Lin as well at featherweight. He's got a good test, I think, at the weekend. So yeah. How excited are you by these guys and how quick can they be progressed?
Look, I'm very excited by them. And how quick can they be progressed? It depends how they come through their fights. I'm not going to, we're not in about throwing them in the deep end and just see what happens. I want to bring them through, let them learn their craft, their trade, and do what we're pretty good at doing, which is bringing youngsters through. They are superb talents, and they put their careers in Queensberry's hands. So we're going to make sure we do the best for them. There's other good fighters on the card as well. You got Willie Hutchinson, who I think's in a very, it'd be a bit of a defining fight for him against Lennox. It's on paper, it's a tough fight. It's a very tough fight for him on paper, but I really do believe in him. And I know, and I don't want to get into the hype stuff, but I do genuinely feel that he does remind me of a young Joe Calzaghe. He really does. He's got tremendous skills. And I've noticed a couple of the photos that he's put out on, which have been shown me, have been out online or whether it is on Twitter. He's absolutely ripped now. When you think in his last fight, how he looks, so he's obviously putting a lot of work in the gym, and he's working very hard. So I do feel that he can he can go on to be something really extra special, as the other guys that you also mentioned. You know, we got some really good young talent, and this is a great opportunity for them this weekend, or an opportunity for the fans to see all the youngsters that we got and see how they progressed, and see if you look at one of them, you know, when you're watching, if you think that one of them's going to come through and do the business at world level.
Now, a couple of the fights for the weekend have dropped out, unfortunately, due to injury. The British title fights are super lightweight and welterweight. Are they going to be rescheduled on one of your future shows?
Yeah, they'll be rescheduled. We've got. I was really gutted for Sam Maxwell, but we've got Sam. I think he's got an 8-rounder on there, and we're just, as you say, we reschedule the fights for as soon as possible.
Yeah, it must be disappointing for Chris Jenkins as well. Obviously, he's injured and he's not had a lot of luck.
Well, listen, it wasn't a bad luck. He wouldn't have had any.
Yeah,
but exactly. Look, it's there. It's happened. You know, things happen in this game, as you know, and he's got to get himself well. And when he gets himself well and he's fitting up to go, we'll reschedule the fight.
Now, talking of exciting British title fights that you're going to be promoting, Denzel Bentley against Felix has really captured the imagination, it seems. How easy or difficult was it to put that fight together? Because we don't often see these Queensberry and Matchroom cross, fighters going against each other.
Well, the board put it together. They called for the purse bids and we won the purse bids. And that's it. We got behind our man and won that purse bid. And I'm delighted that we had. I know that Tony Sims, Felix's trainer, said that he was going to pull him out the fight if we won, but he didn't, thankfully. So we got a good fight in our hands, and that's great for everybody concerned. It's a fantastic fight, and I'm really looking forward to it. It's one of those where I fancy our man big time. But having said that, it won't be easy. I'm sure Felix has got a different idea. And after I won the purse bid, I was unaware of it at the time, but there was a bit of history between them. Apparently, in sparring, they had apparently you would have paid to watch the sparring, and also what happened outside the ring. So there's
I want to say a little bit of cobbles, but they're paving slabs, really. So, but yeah, the Peacock brings out the best in people.
It does, mate. It does.
When's that going to be? Is it the end of April?
I think it's the 24th, the last Saturday in April. Yeah.
Good stuff. And is that going to be the main event of that show? And who else might we see on there?
We're working on it at the moment. I'm hoping we're going to have on there. I know that Callum Johnson's going to be on there, and I'm hoping Anthony Yard will also be on there.
In separate fights, we should clarify.
Yes. Yeah.
Good stuff. And although we're very excited about the shows at the weekend, and that's our focus at the moment, it would be remiss of me not to ask you about the ongoing AJ Fury or Fury AJ saga, I guess. Hopefully it won't be a saga for too much longer. Last time I spoke to you, it had been signed and sealed. As yet, not delivered. What's the latest on that in terms of dates and venues?
Well, listen, you sound like Stevie Wonder there, but I think at the end of the day, I think hopefully, and I hope that we'll get it over the line for the venue. We're all working on it. Look, up until today, as well as saying last week, I've done an interview on IFL last week, and somebody in the office said, "Oh, you're getting a lot of stick over not saying being evasive." I said, "I'm not being evasive. No one knows what is happening with travel. Up until yesterday, I think it was May 12th, people could travel. So, say for example, we were going to do that fight in a foreign territory on May the 12th. The Brits would have been able to travel to go and watch it if it was in this foreign territory. Now they're saying it's $5,000 fine for travelling or a holiday. So no one can give these answers at the moment. All we're doing is working very hard to find a site and a venue that can host it and come up, obviously, with the site fee. And we've got quite a few people interested, but they've also got problems in their own countries. So we're working with them to help get this thing over the line. And that's where we are. And, it is signed. But now we're in the same position as everybody in trying to find a venue that is and that can be, and the fight can be financed from the sales of tickets, etc., from that foreign venue to make it worthwhile to the boxers to get in the ring against each other. Maybe the alternative is to get it on in the UK, but even then, we don't know how many people we're going to be allowed into stadiums. So it's a real you know, we're all in no man's land. So we're working hard to get it over the line, but I'm sure something will happen. I'm not being negative. I'm just saying what the problems are that we have to overcome. And I'm not a negative person. I'm a very positive person. That's why I've been doing this for all the years I've been doing it. If I was a pessimist, I'd have got out of this business years ago.
The US journalist Mike Coppinger, known for his sources, shall we say, put something out on social media saying that he's been told the delay for Fury AJ being signed is because backers in the Middle East have said it will be worth more money later in the year. Is there any truth in that?
I can't comment on that at the moment, Dan, because I don't know who his sources are or where he's getting it from. You know, from my perspective, is we signed an agreement, all of us, and that agreement made it very clear. Any announcements regarding the fight, when it takes place and so forth, will be done jointly. And I'm sticking to what I signed. That's what we signed up to. That signature at the bottom, the terms and the signature at the bottom is what we all signed up for. We signed that. And and that's what we should be keeping to, what we were contracted to do. So once we do have the venue and everybody's happy with the terms and the deal, we'll announce it. And I wish we could do that like tomorrow, but we're not in a position to do it yet.
Now, you mentioned just now about getting stick on social media for being evasive. I want to ask you about social media generally. You're not a big, I don't know if you're a big fan or not, but you don't use it much personally. You get other people in your business to handle that. They know what they're doing. But why are you not a big social media person? What is it you don't like about it?
Well, I think, genuinely, I mean, I can't even say with a great respect. Most of them, it's a load of twats who think I'm a twat. So and I've cleaned that up. So what do I want to engage in all that for? I don't really, it ain't going to affect my life or my business, me putting out saying what I've had for dinner and what I've got to say. It is what it is. We use our social media to publicise our shows. That's what we do. The rest of it, I'm not interested in publicising myself and doing all the other crap. I'm a bit too old and bit long in the tooth be sodding around or caring or worrying about that.
How willing and aware are your team of kind of telling you what's going on social media, especially things people are saying about you? Because I imagine they might be a bit wary at times.
No, I don't. I've got to be honest. I don't. I think they take it more to heart than I do. I mean, if I was to be answering every one of those people, I mean, listen, thankfully there are some nice people on there, but the trolls are trolls. And as I say, they're the ones, for me, the majority of those, they're sitting there with their old string vest on and their pot noodles and got sod all else to do, while we're out working and trying to make things happen and being positive and delivering. I've got better things to do in my time than to be worried about that. And I guarantee you, out of those people, how many of those people buy a ticket for a show? I mean, you can't buy them at the moment, but when you can buy a ticket. So, you know what I mean? So I don't really pay too much attention to it. That's what they get off on, and then good luck to them. That's what their life is, saying these things, then that's how it is. But I'll be quite honest, I haven't got a lot of time for it.